Howdy guys, Radio Magic here. I hope you're all having a fantastic morning, day, afternoon or evening, wherever you are and whatever you are up to. Today we are back with, I guess, what is turning into our main series on the channel with how viable is Control in the historic meta, and we're going to continue on with some Azorius Control. Normally we'd mix it up with our Control list, but I feel like we tried a load of new cards yesterday. Some of them worked, some of them didn't work, and what we're going to aim to do today is create a more competitive version of the Azorius Control list using some of the new cards but most of the old cards, and just see how we get on and how it plays in the main meta. Obviously, if you guys don't want to listen to a deck tech, the deck tech will be a little bit shorter because we did a main proportion of the deck tech yesterday. You can always go and check that video out. There'll be a link in the description down below. Right at the bottom, you'll see the other Azorius Control list. Go check that out for the main deck tech description, but I'm only going to be covering the changes that we made in this one. But if you're not interested in that at all, go down in the description and you'll see the timestamps for the different games. As always, there'll be no spoilers down there, just the matchups that we had. So feel free to go and check that out. Maybe you're struggling, maybe you're playing Azorius Control and you're struggling against like elves, for example, and you want to see how that matchup does with this variant. So you can go down and check that out. So like I said, I'm going to go over a real quick deck tech and what we changed in the list from yesterday, just to do what I feel like may make it a little bit more competitive. So what we've done is we've kept with the baffling ends on the 2-drop slot. We've kept the baffling ends and the sensors. These are the same numbers as our low mana interaction. We've kept with the same number of Nikos. I think Nico's still a really good planeswalker, and we will see how they continue to grow as the format develops and how this list changes as time goes on. I'm still really confident that Doomscar is just insanely better than Wrath of God and Shatter the Sky, so we are sticking with the Doomscars. Another main change that we've made is we have replaced the Saw It Coming Foretell counterspell with Absorb. I think Absorb is just going to be better. We played, obviously you get the 2 mana variant of the Saw It Coming, but I think the 3 mana, just paying the 1 extra is absolutely fine. We do have to add the white in there, but we get to gain 3 life as a result, and I feel like the life link, the life gain is really relevant with Absorb, so we're going to run that instead. I was offsetting the Absorb life link with Timely Reinforcements yesterday, so now that we're playing the Absorb as well, we have our passive life gain in there, so we don't need to run things like Timely Reinforcements, so it actually makes room for other bits, like what control list would be complete without Narset Parter of Veils. We've all seen Narset, 3 mana planeswalker that can look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a non-creature, non-land card from among them, put it into your hand, put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order, and arguably one of the better bits of the text is each opponent cannot draw more than 1 card a turn, so they only get to draw for their draw phase. So Narset's really good, and now that we've removed Timely Reinforcements, Narset slots really well in the 3-drop slot there. It's really good card advantage as well. This should probably go up there. We have also removed Behold the Multiverse, so I'm not really sure if that is a playable card or it's going to be playable in this format. It was Glimmer of, I'd compare it to Glimmer of Genius, and I've heard a lot of people compare it to that. And I feel Glimmer was playable in Standard when it was a thing, but Glimmer doesn't see play in Historic, and I don't know if Behold the Multiverse has enough of an upside of being able to split up the cost over 2 turns to make it playable. So we have straight up just cut the Multiverse, and this is when the Narsets have come in. So the Narsets, I say they've replaced Timely Reinforcements, but the card advantage that Narset provides is similar to Behold the Multiverse. Behold the Multiverse, they're the same cards, but they're obviously like different cards. They do different things. There are different speeds you can cast them, and they just have different effects. But I feel like Narset is overall probably a better card than Behold the Multiverse, and fits a little bit nicer in the list as well. We're sticking with our 4 cast outs as well. Cast out's just a pretty good card as well. Not really going to change too much just because of the cycling on it and the flexibility. Teferis, we've actually gone up on a Teferi this time. I feel like Teferi is really good. We want to be playing as many Teferis as possible, and we are running. We've gone 4 Shark Typhoons, which is what we was running yesterday, and 2 Starnheim Unleashed as well. I've gone up on this. I don't know if it's correct to go up because it's a win condition that you just want to have 1 of a lot of the time. But if you watched the video yesterday, I was really impressed with this card, and I always felt like I wanted the copy that I had in my hand, sometimes an additional copy. So we're going to run 2 and we'll see how this fares. So it'll be interesting to see how this card performs overall, and if we draw multiple copies of them, how welcome are they in our overall hand. So that is how the list has changed. I think that's all of the changes we made. How many lands are we running? Let me just check. We're running 27, so same amount of lands we are running as before. And in terms of the sideboard, we did actually change a few things in the sideboard. So we did a little bit different. In terms of the mana basis as well, we removed a Plains, I believe it is, and a Field of Ruin, and added in 2 Temple of Enlightenments, just to make the mana basis a tiny bit more consistent in terms of being able to hit both of our colours and giving us a little more flexibility with the scry. In terms of the sideboard, we have removed the Rest in Pieces and gone up on a Graph Digger's Cage. This is mainly because Four.Vs is a thing in the decks, in the games where you want to have Cage and Rest in Peace. They're normally the same matchup. Not obviously, some matchups you're going to want Rest in Peace, some you're going to want Cage, but they cover each other's bases a lot. And most of their matchups run black, where Four.Vs is a thing. And because we're running if we were running 4 Cages, 4 Rest in Peace, then this would be different. Or if we were just running 4 Rest in Peace, it'd be different. But because we're running in such low numbers, if we have them in our opening hand and we're on the play, we really need to be able to get them under the duress and Four.Vs. So a 1 mana play is just so significant compared to a 2 mana play. So we've gone up to 2 Cages and cut to the Rest in Pieces altogether. We're still running the Tails End. We are still running Dovin's Vetoes, though we've gone up on a Dovin's Veto. We're playing 2 Narsets in the board, so we've cut 1, but obviously 2 have moved over to the main. We're still running the Wrath of God. We've gone up on Authority as well, and we've gone up on an Ether Gust at the same time. We're not running the Seal Away, which is the difference there, and obviously we're running 2 Rest in Pieces before, so that's made room with the Narsets, with the Authorities and the extra Dovin's Veto. So just covering our matchup for when we need to play against like 4-colored nonsense, Uro, and the mirror matchup. So yeah, a bit of a rambly deck tech today because I'm sort of looking at my phone at the same time with the changes that we had and the deck lists that we had, so I'm sort of just going over that. But I hope you guys get an understanding as to how the list has changed and what we have done to make it, in my opinion, better than yesterday's list. But obviously I really actually want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that I'm making any mistakes of what I'm playing? One thing that I really did struggle with is like the inclusion of ECD. Like, is that something that we should be playing at the moment? And Birth of Meletus as well, because I feel like when you add Narset and Nico in, Birth just gets better at the same time, but trying to find room for Birth is really, really difficult. It was something that I had a long, hard think about. So let me know what you guys think about that. But yeah, that was the list. I tried to make it as quick as possible with the deck tech. They're normally quite rambly just because I get different ideas going through my head at the same time. And yeah, like I said, we're just going to play 5 back-to-back games, see how we get on. And yeah, I will catch you again at the end of the wrap-up. Okay, so some more Azorius Control in Historic. And what do we think of this hand? I think this is reasonable. We have 3 free drops, so I don't know. I mean, Narset's going to dig us towards something else. We are on the play, so the Absorb might be better. But we're not doing anything turn 1 and 2. I guess our mana's okay as well. We'll give it a try. I don't know. If our opponent has a relevant 1 or 2 drop, then I think we might be in a bit of trouble. But we have a few Baffling Ends that we can hopefully pick up. And like I said, our mana's okay. So if we find like a Doomscar or something, then hopefully that will catch us up as well. This is one of them hands that it could easily go wrong. Okay, Swamp's quite good for us, I think. But this is one of them hands that could easily go wrong. This hand is quite Four.Vs proof. Okay, so I think we're in an okay situation now. Just going to get down Narset, because if our opponent does nothing again, then we're in a pretty bad situation. Just take a Shark Typhoon here, and then we have something to do next turn. We can either Absorb or Shark Typhoon. Gives us a little bit of value. Could have taken a Teferi, but we've got Nico. And Narset for card advantage.
I shall miss your company.
Okay, so I think overall pretty good trade for us, and I think we're just going to go Narset again.
I know 88 ways to get thoughtfulness before action.
Just going to take a Doomscar. Yeah, I think I like Doomscar. I think we're in an okay situation from here. See what our opponent's up to, though. Hunted Nightmare. So when it ETBs, target opponent puts a death touch counter on a creature they control. So pretty good considering we don't have any creatures. So Narset's going to die either way. And this has Menace, so unlikely we're going to be able to block it. Let's just tick down with Narset. So Doomscar. So we could Doomscar. Just 1-for-1 trade this. We could cast out it. Like we said, Shark Typhoon can't block. Are we that worried about losing Narset? Already got our value. Our opponent missed a land drop. I'm like kind of in a situation where, I don't know, do we just like tuck away a Doomscar, hold up, absorb? Opponent gets to finish off Narset. I'm like just not that worried about Narset dying at this point. I don't know, because we can't block the Hunted Nightmare. And then if our opponent decides to extend any more, then the Doomscar gets even better. If our opponent decides to do nothing with their turn, or something that's not counterable, we stop this. I think I'm happy to stop this. I don't really want our opponent having the information, and I think Nico's going to be our main form of card advantage. So yeah, we lose our Narset here. Yeah, opponent's not even going for Narset, so I guess that's fine. Again, like, just tuck this away. You get to make 2 4/4 angels. Just not hitting land drops. Maybe we just pass and cycle the Shark Typhoon. Just make a 3/3, hopefully hit a land drop. We could Nico. I don't really want to just put him out there to die. Could equally just use Castle Vantress to scry, just to try and hit our land drops. I think if our opponent plays out a creature here, then we will probably just use our castle and plan to Doomscar next turn. Opponent's just summon up what they'd like to do. All right, we'll make a 3/3. We have another one. We could just play out a Shark Typhoon as well. I don't know if our opponent's going to be able to beat that in mono black. I think I just like playing out a Shark Typhoon here. Normally, you don't play out the Shark Typhoon, you cycle it for the value. But I think here it's just fine. Mono black, I don't know if our opponent's going to be able to beat a hard cast Shark Typhoon. They could have like an Ugin. Definitely an option. But outside of an Ugin, this Shark Typhoon is going to be difficult to beat. Okay, opponent's just going to play out the Murderous Rider. Okay, I think we're getting our 3 damage. We're going to wipe the board and just play a Nico. Then we will get our 3/3. X equals 1. So we get a 4/4 because Nico X equals 1. So we got 2 shards. I just think the card advantage Nico's going to provide is going to be great. No reason to put our life total under any pressure here. Our opponent's really far off of Ugin mana, and I think Ugin's how they're going to get back into this game. They could have the 2 mana sorcery black removal spell that destroys an enchantment, and then you take damage equal to its CMC. But 6 damage is half their life total at this point. And they've also got to answer Castle Ardenvale. So we'll see what our opponent has available. I'm not really sure what they're up to. They could be on like Mono Black Devotion with the Murderous Rider, Hunted Nightmare. Not something I've seen in the list, but it does have 2 black pips and it's a 4/5 menace, so not bad. Thing is, our opponent's missed quite a few land drops, but they haven't really done too much with their mana. Our opponent's going to have Four.Vs. Maybe taking the other Nico. Opponent's got a tough choice. I think they're in a really difficult situation at the moment. They're going to fall to 10 after this. So 6 when our shark hits. They are going to take Nico. Okay, another Murderous Rider. So our opponent's fallen to 8. So we're about to half their life total. I wonder if we just cast this. Our opponent could have like a Languish or Extinction Event that would clear up this board really nicely. But then we're in a situation where we can just sack our shards, draw a few more cards. So I think our opponent stumbled a little bit there, and rather unfortunate for them, but nevertheless we will move on. So this is probably going to be a war of attrition, I'd imagine, and Narsets are going to be quite good for that. What do we not want? Like, Baffling End still felt okay there. Our opponent had a few CMC-free creatures that we could possibly want to remove. I imagine as Mono Black they're going to be utilising enchantments a bit. They've got the 3 mana enchantment that draws them cards at the beginning of each upkeep. I still feel our counter spells are going to be good. Our opponent doesn't have any ramp, so Sense is going to be good. So at the moment we're just bringing Narsets. I don't know how much else we want to change, whether we want to change too much. We haven't really got too much for this matchup. We didn't see an insane amount of non-creature spells that makes us want to bring in Dovin's Veto. You saw like the Murderous Riders, but like you saw the situation of how it goes. You play Narset, you take down Narset, your opponent kills it. You're up a card. So just bringing in more Narsets just feels right there. Maybe we just cut like a Cast Out and a Baffling End, since our opponent's not putting us under too much pressure, so we don't. It's not essential that we have this early game interaction. And at the same time, I can't imagine our opponent having an infinite amount of enchantments that we need to answer. Maybe 1 or 2 Baffling Ends throughout the entire game probably be enough. The other option is to go down on Doom Scars, maybe. Maybe like cut a Doom Scar in favour of a Cast Out, or maybe just a Baffling End. I think we'll run it like this and we'll see how we get on, since we're up a game at the moment. I think this is okay. If our opponent has turn 1 Four.Vs into another hand hate spell, then we could be in a bit of trouble. But I think it's incorrect to mulligan against Four.Vs hands wherever possible. Yeah, I think that's only our only interaction at the moment. We have Censor, but if our opponent removes this, then we're going to feel real bad. We're holding up Censor here since our opponent hasn't done anything yet. Yeah, sweet. So Phyrexian Arena, yeah, that was the enchantment I was talking about during sideboarding that we'd want to answer. So I think I'd rather tuck our win condition. I know Teferi is a win condition as well. But this is going to be really difficult for our opponent to answer outside of a board wipe. And I don't know if our opponent's going to keep in board wipes against Azorius Control. It's one of the reasons I like this card so much, the flexibility of it. So fortunately, Phyrexian Obliterator is something that our list doesn't have too much trouble answering, so we're okay there. I think we're just going to foretell this, maybe. So I was talking earlier in the previous Azorius Control list that we played on the channel that Doomscar on turn 4, drawing it when you want to cast it, is the one situation in which is worse than shatter this guy. And I think this is one of them situations that we'd rather have just had the shatter. Are we just taking another hit for 5 here? I don't really want to. I think I like the situation of just play Teferi, tuck the Obliterator. Highly unlikely that our opponent has a flash for it. If our opponent wants to just draw with Castle, that's fine. And if they remove the Teferi, then we at least got some value by removing the Phyrexian Obliterator. This normally an insanely powerful card, but I think against Azorius we're not really dealing damage. Most of our stuff is exile based, but it's really good to keep in mind that Phyrexian Obliterator is still a thing. Got to be careful of Nico's tick down. Yep. So see here, we're up on a card there. And obviously we got a few turns to prep for that. In which case we can just Doomscar when it comes back round. Won't be too much of an issue. So here, they can't activate their castle. We're in a situation where we could just Nico. Nico for free. Tick down, get a 4th shard. If our opponent does nothing on their next turn, we could just make some angels. We could make some angels now. And Nico for free. I think I'm happy to throw them away like this. We get 4 shards out of the deal. I mean, this is a whole new hand. We just have to sacrifice 1 other turn. And I think if our opponent contributes more to the board, then that's great. Lines up really well against our Doomscar. Nico saves us 4 life here as well. But we might hold off on the Doomscar for 1 more turn, because it's likely that because we know about the Phyrexian Obliterator and this information has already been given, our opponent might cast this turn. Because we're going to be taking 6 and falling to 9. So this won't be lethal in an extra turn anyway. So we could just spend the turn sacking a load of shards. And sack 3 shards this turn as well as a scry. And we get to hold up Censor in case we wanted to. Kind of hoping for our Field of Ruin to answer this castle Lockthwain. And I don't know if we need a Narset at this point. I guess Narset kind of shuts down Castle Lockthwain. Kinda. Yeah, I think we're just going to draw a load of the shards now and then Doomscar. And then I guess we can finish off with our Unleashed. Starnheim Unleashed. So yeah, we'll take our 6. And we'll see if our opponent wants to contribute any more to the board. Hopefully they don't have a Grey Merchant to drain us. Opponent's going to Four.Vs. We shall allow that. Only legal target is Censor. Yep, so our assumption was correct that our opponent, probably because we knew about the Phyrexian Obliterator, maybe they were impatient or something and just wanted to play it out. Not sure. They're going to be punished slightly. We don't need lands at this point. I don't think we need another Narset. Maybe another Narset's good just because it's like more card advantage. But yeah, we're just gonna Narset here. Our opponent might have an answer to it. Shard Typhoon is great. So we even get to sacrifice a shard here. Probably should have done that first, worked out a mana situation. I think we're in an okay situation here. We're a little bit comfortable. Hopefully our opponent doesn't activate Castle Lockthwain now. So unfortunately we're going to lose our Shard Typhoon. But we have our backup of just make a ton of angels. So anyway, 4 angels on our next turn if we want to. Yeah, and I think the 4 angels beats that. Just removal spell's great, I think, here. So just make 4 angels, tick this down. Yeah, sense is fine. So yeah, just making 4 angels here, I think, is gonna be enough to close the game. We can attack straight past this spawn, and if we couldn't, then we could at least cast out. But yeah, this is just lethal by itself. Opponent can't draw. It's always painful when your opponent does that. I did say in the last combat that I hoped that our opponent wouldn't do that, because it's always really sad when someone forgets about the Planeswalker static abilities. But yeah, sweet. Not the tightest game that we've ever played, but managed to get there against Mono Black. So we are back on the play with some Azorius Control, and I think this is a reasonable hand. We have one of them deadly hands with only 3 lands, and if we don't draw another land, then yeah, we're going to be in trouble. Still think we're going to keep this since we have the ability to cycle the sensor, and most hands with Magic needs help in one department, whether it's finding your 4th or 5th land, or drawing your late game, or your removal spells, so we'll see. So Stomping Ground for our opponent, likely to be on Gruul, so I'm really incentivized just to tuck the Doomscar away, but since I just wonder if the sensor is going to get any better. Since being able to stop our opponent's play, I still think it's worth putting the Doomscar away. If our opponent just plays out a load of things here, we'd love to remove them all. And if our opponent only plays out 1 or 2 things, then holding up Sensor / Shark Typhoon might be okay. Could allow us to find our 4th land drop. Have a look, because our opponent could be on the sacrifice list at this point. They could be on Jund. There we go, Jund. Okay. So, what do we want to do? I don't think we need to hold up Shark Typhoon this turn. Our opponent could attack the Paradise Druid, but I think we're going to risk it and just hold up Sensor. Narset. I think we have enough Planeswalkers at the moment. Just like to hit our land drops, I think. So maybe it was worse to put the Doomscar away and it was just better to censor the Paradise Druid, but you don't know. It's unfortunate. Okay, so opponent's stuck on lands. So I wonder if it's best just to untap here in Doomscar. Just reset our opponent's last few turns. In which case we just want to cycle the sensor. Really want to just guarantee we hit our land drops here. I think we're just going to get our 2-for-1 since our opponent's stuck on mana. It feels bad, but you do what you got to do. And if our opponent just taps down for 1 single non-hexproof threat, then I think Teferi tucking it will be okay. Personally, I don't think this constitutes a threat. Not against the sort of list we're playing against, so I think we're just happy just to tick up here.
You know what? I'm not done.
Yeah, we shall untap 2 lands. And if we get to untap Teferi, we are in a pretty dominant position, but I think our opponent, the fact they're stuck on 2 lands is enough for them. So, Jund Sacrifice, I think it's Jund Sacrifice. Probably going to want our Grafdigger's Cages. Not really sure what else we want. See, Aethergust is something that you'd think it's really good, since 2 of the 3 colours our opponent's playing is Aethergustable. But I think the main things we're worried about are actually black. So I'm not sure. Baffling End, Doomscar, Cast Out, all things that our opponent can normally get some additional value by sacrificing part of their board. So I think we're going to trim on maybe the more expensive of the lot. At least Doomscar still forces our opponent to sacrifice their board, though they can normally, like with Midnight Reaper, get some value. So I wonder if we just want to go like that. Maybe we want a Narset above a Nico. Narset digs for our cages, though our opponent probably has an answer to him. And Authority is also something that we could bring in, since it sort of shuts down the cat combo. I actually like bringing in Authority here. Might just cut it for another Cast Out. We don't have that many answers to Oven. A little bit worrisome, but I guess if we get our cage, then it's fine. So this hand is incredibly slow, but I think we're still going to keep this. If our opponent Four-Vs us, hopefully they don't take the Narset. Otherwise we have like a little bit of card advantage. I don't think Nico shines on 3. We want to be casting it later on. So our opponent either doesn't have an untapped land or doesn't have Four-Vs. Untapped Black Source. I'm so petrified of the Four-Vs turn 1. Yeah, they don't have Four-Vs, okay. Yeah, think we're just going to cycle this land away. Really need to find something to do. And then probably just playing out Narset, depending on what our opponent does here. We really don't want to see like a Midnight Reaper. So we're looking at a collected company here. Hopefully we go into an Absorb. Or a Sensor, but our opponent's just going to pop it now. So we get the added information of what our opponent's doing. Though, unfortunately, we did not find what we needed. So, I guess let's just Narset. Hopefully Narset will gain us a little bit alive. And we can hopefully find... Like, Shark Typhoon's not great. Let's take an Absorb. Maybe Shark Typhoon's better. We really want to find our board wipe. That was the ideal situation there. Okay, so opponents on Bolas' Citadel. Are they on some sort of infinite combo?
This is overwhelming. I have reached my limit.
So we did find the sensor, just a little bit late. Bolas' Citadel is going to be a pain. So we can kill the Mayhem Devil. We could play Nico. Cycle Sensor. I mean, I think that's our best shot. Holding up Absorb doesn't feel good there. Mayhem Devil's got to be part of our opponent's like combo. Should probably... It won't let me now. Should probably cycle the Sensor first. I mean, our opponent doesn't have any mana open, so it doesn't matter.
And create a better tomorrow.
So we'll take out the Mayhem Devil. I really don't think we're in a good situation from here. We really need to just stay alive to the best of our ability. Our opponent's got a pretty good card advantage engine though. Don't know how we are tackling this. Our Graph Digger's Cage is probably just the best thing we've got against this. Yep. Take a little bit of damage. Opponent's a little bit off casting Cruxer. Maybe our opponent's on like an Explore package. There's our opponent's land. I'm not sure how they're gaining a load of life. They obviously... Oh. Wait, are we just dead now? Need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Drain for 10. I don't know if we're just dead, because Bolas' Citadel drains us for 10 if they sacrifice 10 non-land permanents. Oh, I guess obviously Mayhem Devil's just going to ping us for 10 as well, isn't it? Let's not make our opponent go through all this. Sweet, yeah. You got us good, opponent. So, I probably want them cast outs back in, I think. I think Authority's going to be okay if our opponent's trying to put a load of things into play. Nico really didn't feel that good. And I think Shark Typhoon might just be too slow. I think this actually gets a surprising amount of what our opponent's trying to do. Doesn't get the Bolas' Citadel. Maybe we just want like some number of them. Not sure what we're cutting for them. Maybe Authority's like too slow, or just not really what we want here. Maybe we'd rather just have the Ether Gust to be able to survive. Yeah, I think this is difficult to cut from. Just like that. I think Graph Digger's Cage is going to be one of our main interactive spells in this matchup. So, we are back on the play, and yeah, we're going to keep this. So opponent's mulligan to 6. We're going to hope that they don't have a Four.Vs so we can tuck away this Doom Scar. So they have the Four.Vs, all Llanowar Elves. So yeah, we'll tuck this away. Hope your opponent decides to double spell next turn. Them being on the mulligan, hopefully if we get some 2-for-1 or 3-for-1 value off of this, it'll be more impactful. So let's just get down Narset. Just rather have a load of 4/4s or Shark Typhoon. I think 4/4s. So for the first time ever in the last Azorius video we played on the channel yesterday, Klothos didn't actually have a target, and it's actually happened again.
Interesting technique.
So our opponent potentially has 5 mana available to next turn, so they're not at Bolas' Citadel range just yet.
Keep an open mind.
Should we just cast out? I think I prefer Aethergust. Get to hold up Sensor or Aethergust. Opponent can target some of the Klothos. But they don't have that many targets.
Train harder.
This is 7. 7 devotion, yep. Okay, so unfortunately our opponent can sacrifice a food to play around the sensor. And Aethergust isn't going to be too great here. Yep, I mean that happens. Not much we can do about that. So if we just Doomscar here, our opponent gets to draw a load. They are quite far back on mana. And we would get an Aethergust / Sensor next turn. Maybe that's still okay. I guess if we wait 1 turn, then we get to Narset plus Doomscar. How do we feel about that instead? Then our opponent wouldn't get to draw from the Midnight Reaper. I think I prefer that. We could just make 2 4/4s this turn, but if we're planning on board wiping, then it's probably not the best idea. Klothos isn't going to deal us any damage. I think I just like holding up Aethergust and Sensor. This play punishes us quite a bit if our opponent has a Four.Vs or a hand hate spell. But you would have thought they would have casted them a little bit earlier. So you would imagine that this means they don't have one. So 5 mana available to our opponent. If this was their 6th land, then I'd probably maybe Aethergust the Llanowar Elves. Okay, so this is going to make our Doomscar quite a bit better. We're going to hope the opponent doesn't have an instant speed answer to a Narset. It's very, very possible they do. Oh, opponent, please don't Collected Company right now. Oh. This is going to be really painful. So we have to discard 2 cards. So we need 1 of our lands, but not both of our lands. So let's discard 1. Oh, we only have to discard 1. For some reason I thought this was a Croxer as well. So take a bit of damage, our opponent gets to draw a card, but we get to Narset plus Doomscar. Our opponent gets a little bit punished for Collected Company then. I understand wanting to play around a counterspell. Opponent's taking a while to declare their target. I assume they're just targeting us. Maybe they thought the trigger would just go on the stack. Yeah, I don't think we need that. I think Shark Typhoon's fine though. So, yep. Now our opponent's tapped down. I feel okay. Our opponent can... They actually can't sacrifice. Yeah, let's just get our value. Yeah, and we'll take our cage. So our opponent still loses the life. They can Croxer, and this might be the turn that they do Croxer. Aethergust is going to be a good answer to that. The opponent's going to lower our life a little bit, raise theirs. So we're not in like a comfortable position, but we're not just dead. It doesn't look like we're just dead. We'll see. We're not going to take any damage off this since we're going to be discarding a... I guess like a Shark Typhoon, since we have the win condition here, and I just like having more interaction. Since our opponent's been stuck on mana, I still think that we're in a position where Sensor is still relevant. Okay, so that was a whiff. So yeah, the plan here is going to be to just get rid of this Croxer. And then Censor whatever our opponent does. This Clophus is a bit of an issue. We did put the cast outs back in. No, we can't really afford to not Aethergust the Croxer here. Opponent puts on top, interesting. Yep, Blood Artist, that happens. Blood Artist is annoying as well. Gonna stop that since with Blood Artist that is a little bit annoying. So I think this is fine. Like, it's risky. Like our opponent, I like having this in hand so our opponent can't play Croxer and deal us 3 more, since then we'll be on 2 life. So we have a little bit of insurance. But that being said, we are on 5, and if our opponent can kill 1 creature, they only have to play a Croxer, I guess, to stay alive here, because the Blood Artist will drain them for 1. They could just sacrifice their food, I guess. So, falling to 3. I guess we're just dead here. Since this pings us, yeah. Clophus puts us to 2. And then Crox is just lethal. We can discard to the Croxer, but unfortunately the Blood Artist is going to kill us. I guess it's not sacrificed. Yeah, it is sacrificed, isn't it? You must sacrifice it. Yeah, so kind of close. Maybe we waited a bit too long on this, but I feel like we did stuff in like a timely manner. So really we should have upkeep Scryed with the Castle Vantress. So we are dying, so let's just look at what we would have drawn, and there you go. Had we have upkeep Scryed, I don't know, but I think we would have won this, since we would have fallen to 2, our opponent would have cast Croxer, we would have countered it, gone up to 5, and then our opponent's dead in the air. So, yeah. And we even had the lands to play it, so misplay, but had you have been a better player than myself, then you would have figured that out. Yeah, hopefully other people would have done that above me. But yeah, mistakes all round. Let's move on to the next one. Yeah, we had fun. Okay, so some more Azorius Control in Historic, and we have been really, really fortunate today. We have been on the play quite a few times. I think we're going to keep this. It's one of them risky 2-landers, but I think Doomscar on turn 2 hopefully will be okay to cycle the Shark Typhoon. It's definitely one of them hands that's obviously got the fail-safe. Just like, if you don't draw your land, you're out. But we know that accepting this. We expect to miss land maybe 4 or 5. But when you keep these sort of hands, you know that the power level of the hand is fine. So Golgari Elves, maybe? Be an exciting list. I haven't played against it yet. Could be. Could be counters. Could be a load of things. Just get our value now. Hold up, absorb. I think we just get our value. I think I'm happy. These Pelt Collectors are going to deal us quite a bit of damage. We would have probably been taking like 5 next turn. Rotting Regisaur. So I think I like just cycling Shark Typhoon here. Miss our land drop, unfortunately. Our opponent's not in red, so no Ember Cleave. They could give it flying, but Shark Typhoon is good for that. And then I don't know what the plan is from there. The plan is to find a removal spell for this Rotting Regisaur, which we do have a few of. We have Cast Out and Baffling End. So yeah, if we can just stall this Rotting Regisaur for a bit. We can take a hit or two. But we don't want to make a habit of that. So we're going to take a hit now. Foretell obviously helps as well, not going to discard. Oof. So yeah, we could just be dead here. And I think we are just dead. So there's a load of creatures in their graveyard. 5, 12, 13, 14. Yeah, so we're just dead. Sweet, let's not make our opponent go through the motion. So, Collected Company did us in there. Yeah, I think this is a matchup where Aether Gust is going to be really good. Wrath of God's probably going to be quite good as well. It's like Cast Outs. This is like one of our more expensive removal spells. I think I just prefer Narset here. Just want Narset to be able to dig. Sort of cutting a few of our cards that obviously we're playing with that are new, but I think we're trying to play to the best of our ability, and I think Nico doesn't really fit the bill here that much. They're really good for card advantage, but I think we need to find our key threats, and Narset's going to help us do that. So, back on the play, and we have our one of Wrath of God. 2 land hand, but Temple will hopefully find us a land. And 2 interactive spells. Yeah, Irrigate Farmland, obviously we're going to keep that. So Glacial Fortress will enter tapped, so we'll play our Irrigate Farmland first. It's rather annoying, since for a control list, this has a lot of things that it wants to do on turn 2. All the way from Foretelling to interactive spells like Baffling End and Aether Gust. So we just waste no time with that. That's going to be something that keeps coming back and back. Get rid of that now. Sweet. So are we just Foretelling and maybe Aether Gusting this? We'll see. Really hope our opponent just taps down for something here and we get to Teferi. So this way we get to take the board wipe. We get to board wipe both of these. So our opponent's sort of forced to take the board wipe. Opponent takes the board wipe, then we can Aether Gust to still leave champion. So opponent gets to Four.Vs here. Unfortunately, I think we are gonna do this now. Opponent gets to take that to Fairy now. And we are just going to hope that 2 4/4s are enough to get us there. Opponent's keeping our board wipe safe for us. But 2 4/4 Vigilance Flyers, that's like okay against what our opponent's doing. Opponent's all on the ground, and these block quite nicely. They don't block that nicely against that. But do have Vigilance as well. We can make blockers for our Castle Ardenvale. So we're okay. Okay, so it looks like our opponent's just on some sort of Golgari value list. Great Henge. It's going to be rather annoying and giving our opponent a bit more life and drawing them quite a few cards. Scavenging Ooze. So we can counter the Scavenging Ooze if we want to. I actually think I like countering this. Stops our opponent from drawing. I guess our opponent has 1 mana up. So just let this go. Let's cycle first. Yeah, I think I like doing it to the Great Henge now before this enters. Let's see how our opponent positions the Great Henge here, because if they put it on top, I'm sort of incentivized to trade with this Rotting Regisaur, one of our angels away. Scavenging Ooze has like no food. Okay, so they put it on bottom, is that right? Yep. So I think we'll take the 7. Our opponent probably knows what's up there. So yeah, we're just going to attack here, and then we're going to create a 1/1 to block this Rotting Regisaur. And there are no creatures in the graveyard, so Scavenging Ooze can't gain any life at the moment. So one of these 4/4s are lethal.
Let me know if you're up for round.
Opponent loses their last card. It was a Collected Company. So our opponent had 1 top deck here to get him out of the situation. And it was a land. So we're all good. Looks like our opponent doesn't want to show us the same level that we showed them. We will just block as such. Maybe our opponent had like a challenge to attack with a certain amount of creatures. So Collective Company seems like a big part of our opponent's game plan. Maybe Grafdigger's Cage is something we want. They did have the Scrap Heap Scrounger as well. Cast outs I feel like might actually be okay. But now we've seen the Great Henge. Yeah, I feel like we got enough win conditions. It's kind of like a Narset as well for a Grafdigger's Cage. So our opponent is on the mulligan, and we are deciding if we'd like to keep or not. And I think this is a reasonable hand. Again, hoping that our opponent doesn't have a Thoughtseize or some sort of hand hate, so we can get this Doomscar away. Opponent's on the mulligan to 5. It's only fair, yeah, it's only fair that they do have a Thoughtseize when they're mulliganing to 5. Interesting what they take here, though. I think it's a conversation between these two. And you maybe take the Doomscar. Okay, they're taking Baffling End. Okay, we're going to hold on to the Temple as well for now. We want to get our plains and island down, and we don't really know what we want to scry into yet. Not going to give our opponent any more information at the moment. Tuck that away in case our opponent has any other creatures this turn. Sort of happy to get our 2-for-1. Though Scrap Heap Scrounger, this is why they took the Baffling End then. let's tuck this away. And I think we'll scry now. Yeah, Shark Typhoon just trades here. Opponent doesn't have any more creatures in the graveyard. It's really likely that they have a collected company here. So we'll just pass the turn. I don't think we're going to take the other 3 here since we don't have something else to do. We will just trade with the Scrap Heap Scrounger since it's quite likely... Oh, our opponent doesn't have a creature to get back with it yet. So I think it's fine. Could just make 2 4/4s here as well. But yeah, I think I like just wiping the board. Could have tucked away another Doomscar maybe instead. Opponent gets back the... Opponent chose not to get back the Scrap Heap Scrounger in the end step. Maybe a mistake. I think they missed out on 3 damage there. I think we should be on 11. But that's fine. Sweet. Ronus is nice. Not sure what our opponent's doing. Oh, they're gonna pump, of course. Sweet. So there's no other creatures in the graveyard. So my mistake, but I still think that's correct to do. Because Ronus can't attack now, and we just have the Aether Gust for it. Yes, slipped my mind on the Ronus activated ability. But yeah, no creatures for Scrap Heap Scrounger to get back. Exile. Yeah, let's just get rid of the Ronus now. I mean, if our opponent... I mean, do we just cycle Shark Typhoon? Just make a 2/2 here as well? Yeah, let's make a 2/2. Give our opponent a little bit more information, but I think just putting the power into play is fine. I assume they take Baffling End. I think it's just going to be really difficult for our opponent to come back here since they only have the 1 creature in the graveyard. We're only going to tuck the 1 away so we can activate the castle, or we can, well, either castle. Opponent's going to scoop it up. Yeah, difficult to come back from. I think just these angels are just insane. They feel really strong, and combination of Shark Typhoon there. But like we saw, our opponent was on the mulligan to 5, and while Thoughtseizes is a really good card, like when you're going land Thoughtseizes and you only got 3 cards left in hand, and your opponent has a full 7, and they're going to draw that 8 for turn, it just doesn't feel as impactful. So, what do we think of this hand on the draw? I think this is a pretty poor hand overall. No blue, so we're quite far off casting Narset. We do have a Baffling End and Doomscar, but we don't even have the double white for it. And I don't feel that bad about mulliganing on the draw. I'm not sure if we can call this hand better. We're going to keep it. I think this hand is better. All of our mana is sorted. Unfortunately, like, these are not great in duplicates. We'd rather have something else to do on turn 2 and 3. But I guess we'll start on turn 3 by cycling the Shark. And then just go again, I guess. That was excellent. Give us something to do on turn 2. So our opponent's on Sultai. I like our opponent's sleeves. So I don't know if people caught this yet. I think by the time this video goes out, it will be yesterday. But I think BNR announcement, or the pre-BNR announcement, if I'm not mistaken, says that Uro might be getting the chop. And for people who watch the channel know that I can't stand the 4-colour nonsense Uro list that we're playing against now. So it might be quite exciting to see this gone. But yeah. This might be one of the last times we're playing against Uro. So opponent, get your reps in now. Yep, we're not going to give our opponent more information. Just let them take one of these. I wonder if we even Shark Typhoon now. Like, probably not. Of course. Yeah, we're just not going to Shard Typhoon there because, like, making a 1-1 just doesn't feel good. Oh, that's triple Uro. Just gaining them so much life, but they don't have a land. So opponent doesn't have a land again. I think we're just going to cycle the irrigated farmland. Fortunately, we're just drawing land after land.
Right on schedule.
Opponent is a little bit unfortunate. I don't know how many lands they kept. So we tried to do this earlier, but we need to full control. Oh! I realised I made that mistake as I pressed it. We tried to do this in the last video played yesterday as well. End step, Teferi untap, and then foretell a card. Since foretell, you can foretell a card at any time as long as it's your turn. It doesn't have to be at sorcery speed. So we should really have another card in foretell at the moment, in exile. So let's just Nico for free. Hope your opponent's not playing main deck Mystical Dispute.
I don't observe objects. I can see more clearly now.
Opponent has a commit to memory. It's one of the other reasons I like foretell. Guess it works really well. You can just exile a few cards, and then when your opponent memories, you still have them cards at your disposal. I'm just gonna pass the turn here. Down with Nico.
Restocked and ready to go.
Just cycle Shard Typhoon, maybe sack a few shards. We'll see what our opponent's up to. Yep, got our value. I mean, we more than got our value here. But yeah, we should really have this Doomscar in... Yeah, that's fine. In exile. So if our opponent decides to memory here, like we get punished a bit. Let's just hope that we don't really need two Doomscars. Opponent's going for the commit memory play.
Past, present, and future are bound by threads of time. Hone your prowess.
This is going to be an unfortunate now that our opponent found a Four.Vs. If our opponent has a removal spell on top of this Four.Vs. We have to find an answer to this Narset now. Or we have to find a counterspell for the memory. We cannot allow our opponent to be able to essentially cycle our whole hand away. Leave us with one card. It's difficult because when cutting down the list, because we're playing Narset, you'd think that Commit Memory was a really good card, but I just could not find room for this. This was something that I did debate adding in when making the list. But ultimately I settled on the 75 that we're playing. So opponent's doing nothing. So I think we're only going to cycle this for free. This allows us to sacrifice a shard. Oh, big mistake. We should have just done this for 5, obviously, because we can't sacrifice a shard because of Narset. Hopefully we don't get punished. Let's see if we can finish off Narset here. And we can.
We still have much to learn.
See if our opponent has like a removal spell here or a counter spell. They have 1 blue up. Opponent's got the commit again. So I think we're just going to exile this. in case our opponent decides to memory here just for a bit of value. The other option is just to sack a shard, but it doesn't work out as well in the face of what our opponent could do. They only have 3 cards left in hand, so they are somewhat incentivized to memory, I guess, after they Uro. Our opponent's quite heavily on the Narset memory plan. I mean, we might just bring in our Graph Tigger's Cage for that reason. Okay, our opponent's back on the Narset plan. Okay, so we need to answer Narset, so we just tucking Narset. Could cast out Narset. Cast out Narset, attack Doomscar. Since if our opponent's going to memory, we'd much rather this Uro to be in the graveyard. Rather this to be cycled away. Strange game though. We're sort of just playing around our opponent having this Narset commit memory combo. They've gone through 2 of them already. You can imagine if they're playing 2 commit memories, or 2 at the minimum, then they're playing 4 Narsets. Okay, so yeah, we're just gonna go to Fairy here. Gonna tick up.
Keep up the pace.
So we'll see what our opponent's got. I wasn't really happy to tuck the Shark Typhoon just because the Shark could be able to finish us off. We just want to put ourselves in a position that if our opponent decides to memory, then we're not that bad off. Okay, yeah. 2 Shark Typhoons, not going to lie, is going to be tough to answer. We'll start by sacrificing a Shard. Okay, cast out is an answer to it. I hope our opponent doesn't have any enchantment hate. It's like very possible that they could. Okay, so our opponent knows that Fatal Push is going to have no real targets, or maybe they're just not playing around this.
You need to slow down.
This just works out quite well for us. Our opponent has 1 card left in hand, but we have 4 shards still sitting here. If our opponent has like an Assassin's Trophy or something, or some way to answer an enchantment, then we are in real big trouble. But hopefully this is just going to lock the game away, and this is not a board wipe. Opponent has drawn a lot more cards than us. So we could just see Uro here. If our opponent has a land into memory.
You are a mighty warrior. I concede.
Opponent does have a land. Let's see if they just want to go memory here. Opponent does not. So these matchups normally are a bit of a grind fest. I'm going to keep a counter spell.
Let's skip to the good part.
So we can unleash. We have 1, 2, 3. I guess we can just QQ it, can't we? So we have 10 mana available to us. So that's 4. Is that right? 8, 9, and then we can untap 2 lands in the end step to absorb. And outside of a board wipe, it's unlikely that our opponent's going to have a solid answer to this. This could very possibly be a board wipe. It's entirely possible. I think if that is the case, then we could look at absorbing that. This Uro's going to get an attack, but we get to block it. Was this last card just an eliminate? Yeah, I'm happy with that. So we have to trade 1 Angel as well for this Uro. But on the upside, our opponent's not going to be able to just get back the Uro just yet. Then you put 1 more card in the graveyard first. So yep, opponent gets to draw 1 card. Looks like it's a land, yep. So yep, I think we'll triple block in case our opponent has a removal spell here. And no reason to tap down in the end step for a shard. We'll just untap. So opponent can recast their Uro here. Opponent's going to memory. Yeah, I don't think I want our opponent to memory here. Like, memory gives us a fresh 7 at the same time, but we're in a situation now where we've got our Teferi active, we've got our shards. There's a few different things we can do. Yeah, absorb is great. Sweet. So we managed to play around what our opponent was rather jankily doing by trying to Narset memory us out of the game. We definitely want ours. I feel like we want our Grafdigger's Cage, and Aethergust feels like it's going to be really good here. I'm not sure about Tail's End, like Dovin's Veto probably as well. What do we not want? I feel like Doomskars were okay. They answered what Shark Typhoon was doing. But at the same time, that's all they're going to do. Baffling End answers Uro. But we have Aethergust, we have Grafdigger's Cage now. I'd rather cut as many dead cards as we possibly can. Nico's going to be good, but only late game. Got a lot of cards we want in this matchup. Teferi felt like it was really good. We like trim on some stuff now. I feel like Sensor's probably our worst counter spell. So our opponent is on the mulligan, but I don't think we are on the mulligan. I mean, we only have 1 blue source, but we can cycle this cast out turn 1. Probably going to keep this. Let's see how aggressive our opponent wants to get if they have a turn 1 Thoughtseize. This hand is like iffy, but I don't know if we're going to get a better hand. See how aggressive our opponent wants to be. They want to take this cast out or not. Could just take the Nico here. Yep, it's going to take Nico. Ooh, that was quite sweet. I'm going to play that Cage out instead of cycling cast out this turn. Doesn't have any immediate effect, but I'd rather not to get hand hated. So yeah, might cycle cast out this turn. We'll see. It didn't look like that our opponent had any immediate answers to Cage in game 1. But you can only imagine that they have like some Aethergust or yeah, I'm going to cycle. Not Aethergust, sorry, Assassin's Trophy, Maelstrom Pulse, something like that. Gonna just tell our opponent, yep, we've got the absorb. What are you going to do about it? We do just have counter spells for days now. Opponent's going to need to play multiple relevant threats. But you know that they have the counter spell as well. Let's put this away. Pretty good. Just want to keep hitting land drops. I don't mind that's tap land. Would have been nice to just be untapped so we could have activated our castle this turn and start adding the pressure on now. Because we might get into a situation now where it's just back and forward, back and forward. Yeah, that's fine. And no one's going to really cast anything because they know we have multiple counter spells. We know that they probably have them as well. So we're just going to activate our castle. Our opponent doesn't have a white open. Like they could just have like negate or mystical dispute. We're just not really in a situation like we could cast this, but would we cast it for like 1 to make 1/4/4? I don't really think that's good enough. At that point, I think I'd rather just make a 1/1 for free. Wait for our opponent to tap down a little bit. We've got the Uro checked. I like that our opponent's playing Snow. Do you reckon they're just playing Snow just to play Snow? I mean, I like the art of them. Personally, I prefer the art of these. It's one of my excuses for running blue, getting to run at this art of the island. So yeah, we're just gonna activate castle here. And start attacking him. Because next turn we'll be able to Shark Typhoon. Unless our opponent has an answer to his cage, then we're just fine with all of this cycling, I think. But we do have a few answers to their answer to cage. I guess the card we're most scared of at the moment is Hydroid Crisis, if they're running it. They had 30 cards left in their library, and we saw everything in their hands and there was no Hydroid Crisis. They're also playing Narset with Uros, so I don't know if Hydroid Crisis is something they'd want to play as well. Just because the more creatures you add into the list, obviously the worse the Narset gets. So our opponent could have like an Eliminate or something, but we'll make them use their card when we essentially get our card back for free. Tap for 5. Our opponent's not under much pressure, so they can just take this. Probably see it now if we're going to see it. Opponent's just going to cycle for 1. They're leaving up 1 mana. Rather suspiciously, since if they made that Shark Typhoon a 2/2, they could block the 1/1 tokens. Yep, gonna attempt to stop that. I think if our opponent goes for the counter spell, yeah, we got to... I mean... No, we're just playing with fire, aren't we? Let's just stop the Tameo, I guess. I don't think gaining the 3 life is worth it, because we could Dovin's Vetoed in the negate. Yep. Opponent gets to take out Teferi here. They have full information. And what do you know? Sometimes being lucky is just better. Straight off the top.
Hurry.
I mean, there's like a number of good things we could have drawn, but I do feel for our opponent in situations like that. It's annoying when you Thoughtseize or hand hate your opponent and then they top deck exactly the card that you took. I think we even cut one of these. I think we're only running 2 at the moment. We might have the 3rd in the list, I can't remember. Opponent does have the Maelstrom Pulse. feel like we've got to attempt to stop Maelstrom Pulse. Opponent likely has a counter spell in these two, but we must try and stop this since it's shutting down Uro. Yep. So our opponent's got one card in hand, but it matters little when our opponent has Uros ready to go. Can't cast one this turn, which I think might actually be quite relevant. So just gonna waste 3 mana here. Cycle that away. Sweet. I mean, that's okay. Let's draw again.
Keep up the pace.
Just make a load of angels. And then hopefully Uro's is not good enough for them. Yeah, I think I just like making a load of angels here. We can make 1, 2, 3. I think that's right. Yeah, if we make 3, we can still hold up Absorb if we want to. But this should ensure lethal next turn. Since, well, I mean, it depends how many Euros they go through here. I think that might have been why they were cycling so much, trying to dig towards a Maelstrom Pulse. Either that or Assassin's Trophy. Opponent only has 1 green source, so they go up to 10. They can block 1 threat. And then they get through 4, 8, 12, so I think that's fine. They have to do something else here. We can stop them from getting the card draw, but the advice I've always been provided is counter the thing they draw or the thing they tutor for, not that. Since we're still representing lethal at the moment. Yeah, and now I think our opponent's just, yeah. Sweet. So we managed to dodge a Fort Distortion, which is something I'm petrified of when playing against this 4-color nonsense list. But we did okay there. I think the combination of the Starnheim and Unleashed, and yeah, Grafdigger's Cage did some work. Nico didn't do that much, but Nico did a lot in the last game, which is really good. And same Multivary, but yeah, just making a ton of 4/4 angels out of nowhere was just insane. It really gives you that oomph needed to close the game really quickly. So we are on the play, and what do we think of this hand? This again is another one of them risky 2-landers. So whatever will be, will be. But double Doomscar means we've got some level of protection against turn 1 Four.Vs. And I think as long as we hit our 3rd land drop, we're going to be okay. That being said, obviously we do need to hit our other land drops in time. This is a hand where maybe we would prefer a Nico above a Narset. So Temple of Mystery, that instantly makes me think that we are against 4-color nonsense, which is going to make me hold off on foretelling this and just cycling a cast out here to try and make sure we hit our next land drop. That is not land, that is land, so yeah, unlikely that our opponent's going to have a counterspell to Narset game 1. Game 2, I'd imagine Mystical Disputes and Negates are coming in. Our opponent might not be in Simic though, they might be in something else. What do you want here? Definitely don't want Doomscar. Feel like we got enough card advantage. At this point, our biggest concern is hitting land drops. Oh, Flash. Okay. I mean, Flash, yeah. When it gets to hit Narset down. There's a Simic Flash. What do we think about this? Sweet, we hit our land drop. So we're just passing the turn here and Shark Typhooning. Opponent could have like a Brazen Borrow or something. Okay, as long as our opponent doesn't have a 1-mana spell here. Or 2 mana if they put an untapped land into play. Sweet. So our opponent might need to Brazen Borrower. Ah, is our opponent playing around Shark Typhoon? I think we're still cycling this. It's unlikely that we're going to be able to trade with this Cutthroat. Opponent played around this really well. We have to believe that that was intentional. So we could Baffling End the Cutthroat or attempt to, and then tuck away a Doomscar as well. Equally, we could just hold up Cast Out when our opponent taps down. Could play Nico, though I don't like that as much. Could double Doomscar. There's so much we could do. Could hold up Absorb. I think we're just going to pass the turn. Go for the Absorb plus Cast Out play. And I like protecting our Narset for as long as possible. So our opponent could have the 4-mana Wolf here that makes Wolves. Gonna attempt to stop this Brazen Borrower because it is 2 spells in 1. And did resolve, so our opponent might not have another threat here. Honestly, don't know how long we can protect Narset for, so I don't think it's worth throwing her in the way here. Or throwing our Shark in the way. Okay, they're just going to come straight for us, so they're maybe not on the Curious Obsession plan. Which makes me feel better. I think the version of Simic Flash where they're on Curious Obsession is rather infuriating. Okay, so what do we want to do in this circumstance? Like, attempt to Baffling End. See if our opponent has a dive down. I think, yeah, I like this because we get to tuck away a Doomscar as well and then cycle Cast Out for a potential land drop. Yep. So, nothing we can hit here that would change this outcome if we cycled the Cast Out now. We can leave the Shark back, though, to block the Field Mystic. I'm going to cycle this now. Hit a tap land, maybe. Yeah, Sensor wouldn't have changed that. Sit back. Yeah, Field Mystics are a little bit annoying since they're going to be able to stop these Doomscars. Opponent's shocking in. I'm not sure what this means. Okay, so trade with the Mystic here. Seems self-explanatory. Okay, so we could Nico, and then if we drew an extra card, we could shoot the Cutthroat, but it only takes 1 spell for that to go horribly wrong. I think I like just pass the turn and attempt to Cast Out. In which case we can tuck one of these away, and that means next turn we have the opportunity to potentially double Doomscar. See, our opponent's got. Okay, they're just going to scry. So bottom both. Could have upkeeped the Cast Out maybe. It's unlikely that our opponent's going to do anything else now, isn't it? In which case, we maybe should have upkeep this, because our opponent's not going to do anything in their end step. It's unlikely that if they're playing at flash speed that they're going to want to do something then. They'll be doing, like, for example, this now. And with 1 card in hand, we should be able to get both their creatures. Hopefully, this is another Field Mystic. One can only hope, though. Yeah, and I think we're going to pass the turn here. In case our opponent goes for a Wolf. Just a Cutthroat. So we could cycle into an Absorb, and I think it's worth it. We're at that point in the game now. We can't hit an Absorb, unfortunately, anymore. So we're going to take our 2. But Nico's going to be able to finish off the Cutthroat, providing our opponent doesn't have a removal spell on top or a counter spell here. So yeah, let's cycle away. Sensor's time has expired. We are running quite low on health. How much do we want to do Nico for? So I guess we could do Nico for 2 and then shoot the Cutthroat. If that doesn't work because they have a counter spell, then we can still Doomscar, and if it does work and we can shoot the Cutthroat, then we can still foretell the Unleashed. So yeah, let's do Nico for 2.
For both of us.
So that did work. Let's keep going. Let's take out the Cutthroat. We're not safe by any stretch. We still have to draw something. I feel a bit safer once these angels are down. We'll see, but our opponent could easily flash something in and then destroy us in the end step. It's been a while since I've played against a flash variant. Okay, so our opponent had nothing. I think we just do this for 2. We can make 2 angels. I think we play Narset first if our plan is to do that, since we could hit something better with a... if we hit like an Absorb of Narset, then we'll probably just pass the turn instead.
Like wind and wave. Keep an open mind.
No. Yeah, I think we're just going to take it real slow here. Since I feel like we're just out of grip from being able to say that the game's over. We need to find a counter spell, something. I just don't really want to tap down for this and then our opponent like flash something in or counter it and then do something else. Opponent's bottoming a load here, just not relevant cards. They might be like a tempo variant and just couldn't really get underneath us. The Doomscar's really helped. Yeah, I mean, I think I just like Shark Typhooning here. I know we've put these away and we're sort of not doing anything with them, but feels like we really don't need to at the moment. I think Shark Typhoon's going to be enough.
Now we've got the edge.
Hopefully we find a counter spell off of this. You can only imagine, yeah, you can only imagine we would eventually. Yeah, just gonna Shark Typhoon here. We could absorb, sack a few shards. Opponent's got a ton of value off his castle, but Nico has just, I think, buried our opponent this game. We only have 2 cards in hand, but having these 3 in exile. So do this for 6. So, should we see if this resolves first? So we can make 4. So we could make 3 and hold up Shark Typhoon. And hold up Absorb even. If we shock in. I think it's just worth making 3. No, sorry, let's make 2. My apologies. I don't really want to shock in if we don't have to. And I think 2 angels are going to be enough, especially with a separate one sitting in the wings. So, yeah. Auto pay. Our opponent deliberately did this for 4. They could have done it for 5 if they wanted. I guess their plan might be to activate Castle, but you feel like you wouldn't let this resolve, yeah. Okay, so our opponent has nothing now. So we're going to attack. They might scry an upkeep. No. Yeah, very much the tempo game with like syncopates and that. So the opponent's gonna, yep, do some bouncy. Now I'm happy to tap down for this. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 we can make after we play land. This is the most amount of angels I've ever made with this. I think that's just going to be game and submit 0. Yep. Got to imagine an opponent can't play through that. Yeah, sweet. So, Flash. I feel like Authority is not something we want against Flash, since our opponent is not really blocking instant speed. I mean, our opponent has like Frilled Mystics and that. Maybe this is still good. There's not really too much we want in this matchup. Maybe it's better to look at what we don't want. I feel like the Unleashed is not great, since we can make 1 for 3 mana. I think I'd prefer just Aether Gusts. I think just tapping down for a big spell against something that's very counterspell heavy. Opponent didn't look like they were drawing a ton of cards there. It looked like they were just trying to counter what we're trying to do. So yeah, Aether Gusts aren't great, but I feel like they're one of our better options. Yeah, let's just run it like that and see how we go. Okay, so game 2 against Simic Flash. What do we think of this hand? I think it's okay. We've got a 2-lander, which is relatively unfortunate again. But we get to get down Castle turn 1, and then turn 2 we could either cycle our cast down Censor, or just cast the Censor. Maybe it's just worth mulliganing for a better hand. Just really want to draw lands though, and the blue source was really perfect, since we can now cast all of our spells with that. I think, yeah, let's just... I'd rather have Censor up. If they're going to go Cutthroat this turn, then I'd rather have the ability to stop that. Like that. Just want to... I think this is one of their matchups where you just want to hold your opponent off for as long as you can. Interact with pretty much everything you can. And if you get to the late game, I feel like we're going to take over. So opponent could go Cutthroat here. Again, or 3-drop. Nope, they had nothing as well. That passed through very quickly. Cycle Shard Typhoon here for 1. Doesn't feel insane, but we've got other stuff we want to do next turn. We'd rather hold up our Absorb, play a Narset maybe. Probably not just going to play a Narset into this much open mana. And I guess we'll chip in for 1. I mean, a 1/1 Shark's still okay. It trades with a Brazen Borrower. Nightback Ambusher. Yeah, we're going to attempt to stop that, since that gets out of control really quickly. And then our opponent's in a position where they can just play the Nightpack Ambusher and then just do nothing, just counter your spells all day long, and make an insane amount of wolves. So if our opponent goes for another one, we can cast out it. Obviously the dream here is that our opponent just taps down. Unlikely. Okay. Okay, so let's allow it. 123 at the moment. Maybe should have left the Shard back to block, but I think it's fine. It's not really a threat, but like if I'm trying to bait our opponent into using some of their counter magic here. Just want to run them out of cards since we have 3 cards in our hand that is just going to generate so much card advantage that if we can get our opponent to use some of their things available. So let's Narset. Hoping this gets countered. Okay.
Those who cannot perceive beyond the veil of reality, meditate and prepare.
Feel like Absorb's going to be good, but I feel like just Shark Typhoon is just better, isn't it? I guess Absorb we can do now. Because I feel like Shark Typhoon's just really difficult for this deck we're playing against to handle. Because they can't counter the threat. I don't think they're playing Disallow, not many lists do at the moment. And it's obviously left over a Shark. See if they throw one of their Cutthroats away. I think I'm happy to just give up Narset here. I think if that's what our opponent wants to do there. Not too interested in keeping her around. Just Nico for 1. Nico for none. Nico for none, and then if our opponent, we can attempt to shoot the Cutthroat. If our opponent casts something at instant speed, then I guess we could cycle the cast out and still counter what they do, and then the damage would still kill the Cutthroat. And providing our opponent has any resources left over from that, then Narset should take over. Sweet. So I think we're just going to pass here. Get to hold up, cast out, and absorb. Opponent did nothing. Let's just get our value off of Nico. Want to play Narset? I don't think want to play Narset. I don't even know if we should have shocked in there. I think just Castle Ardenvale and Vantress is going to be good enough for our Shard and cast out. I don't really feel compelled to do anything else. Yeah, cast out's fine, but yeah. Opponent also has 4 cards in hand. Maybe it's better to keep the untapped land. Don't know where you draw the line between the card advantage. I think it's fine where we're at the moment.
Get in a shard. I'll throw you.
We just like if they go through Mystic. I don't really want to be the first person to cast a spell here. I'd rather be able to respond to what our opponent's doing. And I wonder if we're in a position now where we just activate Vantress, Ardenvale even. We have a lot of stuff that we can do, so let's just start adding the pressure on, I guess. Because these tokens stack up really fast, and our opponent is in Simic, not colours best known for being able to answer a load of 1/1s. And we are winning in terms of board state as well as card advantage here. Opponent has a load of cards in hand, but we also have quite a few cards. A Baffling End's okay. Got cast outs though. Just lands and counter magic at this point, I guess. Our opponent only has 6 lands in place. I feel like Sensor's going to be okay still. Yeah, and we've seen this 100 times. Castle Ardenvale will start to stack up eventually. This is like a fine win condition. Yep. Do not care about a Growth Spiral. Our opponent's missed quite a few land drops, so we know all of these are relevant cards, but my presumption is that all of these are counter spells or interactive spells that do not interact particularly well with Castle Ardenvale. Really glad we kept the second cast out now. As our opponent does nothing. Our opponent might be on the Brazen Borrower plan. And they might be looking to ambush our Ceratops. Ambush our tokens with their Ceratops. Though that's passing through really quickly.
Gotta prepare for the next throw.
Yeah, and these are just starting to stack up. Nico's doing an excellent job of just providing us an extra scry and draw every turn, or every other turn. And like we're seeing here, Castle Ardenvale's just taken over. I don't even feel the need to cast a Shark Typhoon. I might for 2, but it doesn't really feel necessary. We can essentially stop whatever our opponent does here. They could Mystical Dispute. But it's going to feel really bad when they find out we have a Censor. Oh, I like Miscast. And we actually want the free life, so we're going to counter the Miscast. So the Absorb goes off and gains us life, and yeah, our opponent's going to scoop it up there. I mean, I like what our opponent's trying to do. I think it might be a little bit advantageous. Oh, even ranked up. There we go. Maybe as we get higher, the decks will improve. Though we are playing against some meta decks, I think. Yeah, I like what our opponent's trying to do. Normally, we have a lot of problems against these sort of lists. I like Miscast. Haven't seen this be played yet. But yeah, like, interesting. Torrential Earhulk's an interesting addition. Might be a little bit too expensive. In my experience when playing against these lists, the curve normally tops out at Night Pack Ambusher. But yeah, nevertheless, I really like Torrential Gearhulk. I like Flash Speed stuff. I mean, like, in the situation we were just in, like, do we even need to counter the Torrential Gearhulk? Like, they get a Growth Spiral for free? Like, maybe not. I don't know, it's more of a blocker, isn't it? Howdy guys, cheers for making it to the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching some Azorius Control in Historic. I really enjoyed the list. How did it get on overall though? So we played 5 games back to back. We didn't skip any of the games, so we're not sure how many meta lists we were going to bump into going into this. We were just going to play against what we came across. So we played against 5 lists overall. We played against a Golgari sort of aggro list, a Gruul list, a mono black, I guess, devotion list. We played against the 4-colour nonsense Euro list that we ended up beating in the end, where we had to game 1 play around that Narset commit memory combo, which was a little bit janky, but we managed to navigate around that. And we played another one as well, Simic Flash, I think it was. We ended up winning 4 of our 5 games, and the game we lost against Jund Sacrifice, we ended up losing to a misplay. I should have scried in my upkeep. We know that this should have been the case. We mentioned it when it happened. So had we have scried in our upkeep and hit the Absorb there, we would have been 5 for 5, which is obviously a really good score for Azorius Control. I feel like this version of the list is okay. I still feel it has some tweaking to do overall. I feel like the inclusion of Absorb above Saw It Coming is probably correct. You should be playing Absorb. And Starnheim Unleashed, I feel like that was really, really good. I enjoyed having the second copy. And Teferi Hero Dominaria going up to the 3rd copy. Yeah, it's probably right. Maybe you need to play the 4th as well. But we have so much card advantage with Nico and Narset. And talking of Nico, how do we think they're performing overall? I still think they're doing an absolutely fantastic job. I think, like we said before, Teferi comes down, it has to take a turn or two to generate some card advantage. It does have the added benefit of being a win condition in itself and being able to tuck any non-land permanent. But Nico has that raw card advantage of coming down on turn 6, 7, any sort of late turn in the game, and just gets you so many shards, which you can then just completely take over, refill your hand, get like 5 or 6 shards, and it's just a little bit overwhelming. And obviously we have the good utility spells with like Shark Typhoon that's still gonna pull us ahead in them like Simic Flash lists. So I think overall the list did quite well. Bear in mind we are still going through gold. I think we just hit platinum at the end of that, so maybe as we progress and go into diamond, and if we hit mythic in the end before the season ends, then maybe the list will need to change because the decks we're playing against will change and the skill level of the players we're playing against will change as well. So something to bear in mind moving forward. So take this list with a pinch of salt, but at the same time I feel like this is a really good starting point for Azorius. And if you guys end up picking up this list and giving it a try, please do let me know how it goes with you guys. And if you have your own variants of Azorius Control, then I would love to see them in the comments down below. As always, let me know what you guys thought. If you liked it, you didn't like it, please do let me know. Constructive criticism is always welcome. And tell me where my misplays were, apart from the blindingly obvious one with the absorb and not scrying in our upkeep. So really disappointed in that. I feel like that's going to haunt me for the upcoming week, since we could have gone 5-5 with Azorius Control, which is not something that happens every single day. So disappointing there. But yeah, do all the normal stuff, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, stay safe.